hate to bring this up, but things can break in desktop Linux too. There, I said it, and I feel a little better now. I've been a big proponent of desktop Linux on this little channel since I started it, and I still maintain and believe that most run-of-the-mill Windows users would be better served by leaving Windows 11 behind and using a Linux distro of their choice. That said, I realize it's a big lift for many, and the idea of changing operating systems is just, weird to them. Also, desktop Linux like Windows, Mac OS, or the BSD variants are all to some degree a work in progress. These operating systems all have bugs, quirks, and issues that pop up from time to time. Apple is at somewhat of an advantage here since they also make the specific hardware that macOS runs on, whereas the others have to accommodate similar but different platforms from multiple vendors. Until recently, I confess to having very few issues running Linux on my laptops. I used to have an old Samsung laptop and more recently went through a couple of AMD Ryzen-powered IdeaPad models, one a Ryzen 5 and the current one a Ryzen 7. I also distro hop a lot, such that I might install and use 8 or 10 or even a dozen different distros in a year. Yeah, I know, I may have a problem. Anyway, in all that time, I have had very few actual problems until recently, which I'll describe in a minute. Previously, there would occasionally be a wireless card that would be recognized, or maybe the need to install additional codecs in Fedora, or something along those lines. However, over the last 4 to 6 weeks, I've had 3 odd issues that I have never encountered before, and this was with 3 different distros. Very briefly, I was running an Arch-based distro and abruptly lost my touchpad. The mouse pointer would be visible, but did not respond to the touchpad. Restarting didn't help, and the first thing I thought was my laptop hardware had failed. However, I noticed the pointer was active during the login process and only froze up when a desktop appeared. This was in GNOME. The fix was easy enough in this case and involved editing a config file, but weird. The second issue was in Fedora 43, where the Kdenlive video editor developed some kind of runaway memory issue, where just opening Kdenlive would gobble up all system memory within the space of a few minutes. Initially, I was using the KDE desktop, and I tried uninstalling and reinstalling Kdenlive, and then trying the GNOME desktop with the same result. Again, weird. In this case, I kind of just gave up and reinstalled with CachyOS and all was well. A week or so later, I installed Linux Mint Cinnamon, and after using it for a few days, I had the same doggone issue with the touchpad not working. Again, it just happened out of the blue, and the pointer again would be working at login, but not when the desktop environment started. The fix this time was to install the Synaptics driver package, and all was well, and the issue has not returned. What's going on? Is Linux turning to crap? Now, while there have been a few well-discussed issues with some Linux components lately, I don't think that's it. I think, and this is purely speculation, that it's frankly just the law of averages catching up with me. When I have stated in the past that I have had very few issues running Linux, I meant that quite literally. Compared to using Windows, Linux has been a joy, and that's part of the reason I advocate for it when I can. So have these incidents shaken my faith in Linux? Honestly, no, although at first I was puzzled and a little concerned given my prior history. After some contemplation, though, I think this is just a bit of a wake-up call for me. A reminder that Linux is made by people, including me, make mistakes, bugs exist, and no OS is perfect, as I said right at the outset. So that's another video in the can. If you found this informative or interesting, please consider liking and subscribing down below. And remember, be excellent to each other.